everyone, welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be looking at Rosalía today.
Oh, yeah, Rosalía.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. She's so fascinating.
I know. I've been really getting into her lately, and she's got such a unique story.
For sure. So, to get us started, she's obviously huge on the global music scene right now.
Huge.
But we want to dig a little deeper, go past just the hits and the fame.
Absolutely. Like, she's known for blending flamenco with modern pop, right?
Right. And that's what we're going to kind of unpack today. How she got there, what makes her tick.
I think a lot of people don't realize how deep her roots in flamenco actually are.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't just decide one day, oh, I'll add some hand claps and call it flamenco. This is years of study, dedication.
Yeah, she was performing flamenco way before the global spotlight.
Exactly. We've got some early articles about her, and it's clear she's been on the grind for a while.
Oh, wow. So this wasn't an overnight success kind of thing.
Not at all. I mean, she was performing at weddings, bars, you name it.
Wow. Talk about paying your dues.
And she even had vocal cord surgery early on, which is terrifying for any singer.
Oh, man, I can't even imagine. That must have been so scary.
So her dedication is obvious. She was working with a flamenco group called Cajaleo.
Cajaleo. Okay, I'm not familiar with them.
They're pretty well known in the traditional flamenco world. It was a huge learning experience for her, performing in some pretty prestigious venues.
So that was like her training ground, getting that experience with the masters, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And then, even before her first solo album, she had this song, Antes de Morirme, with Si Tanganay.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. That was pretty big.
Huge on Spotify. And it's interesting because you can already see those Rosalía touches, even though it's not purely flamenco.
Yeah, you can hear those hints of what she would become.
Totally. Okay, so her debut album, Los Angeles, get this, it was actually her final project for her music degree.
No way. So talk about pressure.
I know, right? And it's pretty dark thematically, exploring death and loss, very raw flamenco vocals, powerful guitar.
Not your typical pop debut album.
Definitely not. But it got her a Latin Grammy nomination for Best New Artist.
That's impressive. So it set the stage for her breakout album, El Malquer, right?
Yeah, Sully. And that album is a whole other story. Like, it's a concept album based on a 13th century novel dealing with toxic love.
Oh, wow. Okay, so she's not just making catchy tunes. There's a lot of depth here.
Tons of depth. And the production is incredible, very experimental.
Did she have a big budget for that album?
Actually, the opposite. She poured all her savings into El Malquer, almost went bankrupt making it.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a risk.
Right. But it paid off big time.
I bet. That album was everywhere.
Top charts globally, even landed on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time.
Whoa. That's huge.
Yeah, that's how big of a deal El Malquer was.
Okay, so we've got her flamenco background, the early collaborations, the risky debut, and then this massive breakthrough album.
And that's just the beginning. Her career since then has been wild.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's keep going.
Awesome. But before we do, anything that's really standing out to you about Rosalía so far?
I think it's the dedication. It's clear she's not just chasing trends. She's been honing her craft for years. And that risk she took with El Malquer, that's brave.
I agree. She's all in, and it shows. And that's just the beginning of her journey. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into everything that came after El Malquer.
It's amazing, right? Like, she could have played it safe after Los Angeles, but she went all in with El Malquer.
Total commitment. And, you know, that's something we see throughout her career. Taking risks, pushing boundaries.
And it's not just recklessness, it's calculated, you know? She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, there's a real intelligence behind her choices. Like, okay, let's talk about Con Altura. That song with J Balvin.
Oh man, that one was everywhere.
It was huge. 2019, blending reggaeton and flamenco. It was like nothing else on the charts.
It was so catchy, but you could still hear that Rosalía sound.
Definitely. And that music video, directed by Director X.
Oh, yeah, so good.
So iconic. Those visuals, the choreography, everything.
It was like, boom, Rosalía's arrived.
It was a statement.
Yeah.
And it really cemented her global appeal.
I mean, it was the most viewed music video by a female artist that year.
Yeah. And remember, she got that nickname, La Rosalía, after that.
La Rosalía, yeah, well, she'd become this force of nature.
Exactly. And it's funny because some people were like, oh, she's moving away from flamenco now, but I don't think that's true at all.
No, it was more like she was evolving, showing it how versatile she could be.
While still staying true to her roots, which is so important.
And then she just kept going with those collaborations. Ozuna, Travis Scott, even Billie Eilish.
It was like she was unstoppable.
Each one brought something different, but you always knew it was Rosalía.
She has that signature sound,
Yeah.
you know. But even while doing all these collabs, she was still putting out her own music.
Right. Auntie Kucher, fucking money, man!
Bangers! Those were such good tracks.
It showed she wasn't just relying on other artists, she was building her own thing.
And then, Motomami.
Okay, that album is a trip.
Right. 2022, her most experimental album yet.
I remember hearing it for the first time and just being blown away.
Like reggaeton, flamenco, jazz, even some industrial sounds in there.
She wasn't afraid to try anything.
And it worked. Like, critically acclaimed, best reviewed album of the year on Metacritic.
People were obsessed with it.
It's a testament to her vision, how she brings all these different elements together.
And it's still cohesive, which is amazing. Like Sahoko, that song goes from this industrial beat to a flamenco breakdown, and it's seamless.
She's a master at that, blending genres, creating something new and exciting.
And it's not just the music, it's everything. The visuals, the fashion. She even had a whole radio station on Grand Theft Auto inspired by Motomami.
That's so cool. It shows how she's thinking outside the box, reaching different audiences.
She's created this whole Rosalía universe, and it's constantly expanding.
And let's be real, her fashion is a huge part of that universe.
Oh yeah, she's a style icon.
Those platform boots, the flamenco-inspired looks, she's always pushing boundaries.
She's not afraid to experiment, and it pays off.
It does. Okay, so we've got this global superstar, groundbreaking music, fashion icon. But she's also very vocal about her beliefs.
Right. She's a feminist, pro-choice, very supportive of the LGBTQ+ community.
She uses her platform to speak out, which is so important.
Especially for someone with her reach. She's a role model for a lot of people.
But that outspokenness has also led to some controversy, right?
Yeah, the cultural appropriation debate.
Right. It's complex. There's no easy answer.
She's been criticized for her use of flamenco and some elements of Romani culture.
Some people feel like she's profiting off these traditions without truly understanding them.
It's a valid concern, and it's a conversation that needs to be had.
On the other hand, she has studied flamenco extensively. She collaborates with respected flamenco artists.
It's tricky. I think it's about being aware of the power dynamics at play.
Exactly. And being respectful of the cultures you're drawing inspiration from.
And I think Rosalía, at least from what I've seen, seems to be aware of that.
I think so too. And regardless of where you stand on the debate, it's undeniable that she's sparked an important dialogue.
It's making people think critically about cultural exchange in a globalized world.
And that's a good thing. So before we move on to her personal life, what are your thoughts on this whole cultural appropriation issue? Does it make you question her artistry? Or do you see it as a byproduct of genuine artistic exploration?
It's hard to say, you know? I think she's genuinely passionate about flamenco. You can hear that in her music.
Yeah, the passion's definitely there.
But it is like borrowing from another culture, so those questions are going to come up.
They should come up. It's an important conversation.
Exactly. Okay, so moving on, she's been pretty private about her personal life.
She has, but that engagement to Raul Alejandro was big news.
Oh yeah, huge. Everyone was talking about them.
Power couple for sure. And they even released an EP together.
Oh, right. I loved that one.
It was so good. You could really feel the connection between them.
Yeah, their chemistry was off the charts. It said they broke up.
It is. But hey, Rye is still a great listen.
Totally. And remember those rumors about her and Hunter Schafer?
Oh, back in 2019, the internet went wild.
It was crazy. Social media loves a good celebrity romance.
They do. But it's important to respect people's privacy, you know?
Absolutely. So, aside from all the romance stuff, she's also been very vocal about her beliefs.
Oh, yeah. She's not afraid to speak her mind.
Feminist, pro-choice, big supporter of the LGBTQ+ community.
She uses her platform to advocate for things she cares about.
Which is awesome, especially with someone as influential as her.
It's inspiring. Okay, so we've covered so much about Rosalía.
Her whole journey, basically.
From those early flamenco days to global superstardom.
It's been wild, and she's still got so much ahead of her.
I know, I can't wait to see what she does next.
Me too. She's always pushing the boundaries, innovating.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this.
Okay, hit me.
Rosalía's story makes us think, about cultural exchange, artistic ownership.
It's not always black and white, right?
Right. Is she elevating these traditions or blurring the lines?
It's a tough question, but it's a conversation worth having.
It is. And I think her music, whether you love it or have questions about it, it's making us think critically about these things.
Exactly. And that's a good thing, to be challenged, to think deeper.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of Rosalía. We hope you enjoyed it.
It was a blast.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep those conversations going, and maybe give Rosalía another listen, see what you discover.